Crypto Markets Update is brought to you by KuCoin, the best place to find the next crypto gem.
There was some excitement over the weekend in the currency markets, even though you might have seen Bitcoin go just about flat in the 30s. So joining us now to discuss is Greg King, founder and CEO of investment firm Osprey Funds. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning. Can we keep talking about Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger?
we can.
Greg?
You had.
I mean,
you know what? I was going to ask you about the markets, but chime in. What's your take?
No, I mean, the thing is that what's a US dollar? Let's say we have stacks of dollars right here. Like, what are you going to do with it, right? Ultimately, you're just going to have to, quote, sell it to somebody else. These are units of account. So they seem to have a fundamental lack of understanding with regard to what money is, right? He said the same thing about gold. You could put it in one big cube and it's kind of worthless. The world just differs from these guys, right? At the end of the day, you can't barter for everything. And so in the meantime, as you're producing value, you have to store it somewhere. People store this in checking accounts. But what are you going to do with your checking account? You're just going to use the balances in it to buy a house, to buy food, to buy groceries, whatever. And Bitcoin is just another unit of account. They can't seem to grasp. And so it's okay. I mean, we all have grandparents and great grandparents and stuff. I spent
Greg,
30 years trying to get my mom to forward an email on her iPhone. So it's okay.
But Greg, as a unit of account, I mean, like in many ways, like when I get a balance sheet, it's always in dollars. It's not in Bitcoin, right? I might see Bitcoin on it. You go look at MicroStrategies, they'll have like a big chunk of Bitcoin on it, even though that's not what their business does. But okay, that's a different discussion. I don't see their assets and liabilities done in Bitcoin. They're not denominated in Bitcoin. Most people don't have that. They're denominated in dollars. So if I'm putting it in a checking account, I don't have that price risk that I would have if I put it in Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you can use Bitcoin as the payments rails to send whatever denomination
then you could also use stablecoins to do that. Why do you need Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin's about the storing of the value, right? Not as much making of payments. Although we think that developments with the Lightning Network recently are really promising for Bitcoin and are very bullish. But I think that the store of value, it's the same again back to gold. It's just that Bitcoin's a better gold. It's digital, doesn't have some of the physical restrictions that gold has, but people's balance sheets aren't denominated in gold, and it doesn't, you can't buy your groceries with it. But at the same time, world governments and very wealthy people understand that it's a great store of value long term.
Greg, taking a look at the crypto markets, what's your assessment of the short-term outlook for crypto?
I think crypto is getting dragged down with everything else. The Fed and what's going on with rates is really dominating. I think there's a obvious tension between what they need to do in the short term to kind of cool things down by raising rates, perhaps aggressively, versus what we all see that will inevitably have to happen afterwards, which is a bunch of easing because those rate increases are unlikely to be received well. So at the moment, I think crypto's got a much increased correlation to markets overall, and it's sort of risk-off timing right now, and we see that as being the main driver of price activity.
What do you think is causing, though, that sort of correlation with the equity markets right now? I mean, forever we've been told that crypto is not not related. It's a non-diverse. It's a diversified asset. But yet here it is, as you said, it's risk on risk. It's a risk on asset and a risk off environment. What does it tell us about the overall market structure at the moment? Is it? Does it mean that there are more institutions that are involved in Bitcoin and thus have made it a basically risk-on asset, or what's driving all that? What's driving the correlation now?
Yeah, I do think that's the case. There are more institutions involved. It's becoming more commingled into their overall portfolios, and also it's very liquid and easy to transact on a 24/7 basis. Which makes it something that people can go to. Plus, you have embedded profits for anyone that's significantly long term, and so people have, they may want to take some of those profits off the table. But I think that the correlation aspect is still going to recede once this Fed kind of noise sorts itself out.
So in September of last year, Osprey launched a Solana fund. Over the weekend, another big news item was that the Solana network crashed because of an NFT mining bot. And there was all sorts of discussion and debate on, how decentralized Solana really is. They eventually restarted the network by going into Discord and agreeing to do so. But I wonder your thoughts on Solana.
Yeah, so Solana is a super interesting project. Obviously, I think they are making a play for speed there with the Serum project. This central limit order book that can sort of price anything in the world. It holds great amount of promise. But at the end of the day, we keep saying that investing in these layer one technologies is investing in emerging tech. Right. And so things are going to happen as the project gets built out. I mean, it's still to a certain extent in test form, but every time they have an issue, they fix it, move on, patch it, and learn from it. And I think that's how tech, rolls. It's just typically behind the scenes held within a corporation to where we can't necessarily see what's happening, or, upgrades are released to the public as and when. Here with networks that are backed by cryptocurrency, we've got a more open view of what's happening, and they sort of have to deal with their dirty laundry in terms of real time and out there for everybody to see. But we've got a lot of faith in Solana in the long term.
Yeah, Greg, we see here on the price chart is around 88 right now. The prices took a little bit of a dip when this outage happened, but it ultimately bounced back quickly. Usually when something this major happens in the network, you would see the price drop precipitously. So what does that tell us about, again, kind of getting back to that whole discussion about Bitcoin and its correlation to the markets, to the equity markets? Is the fact that it didn't have this massive sell-off during this time, does it tell us that the market itself is concentrated, that the Solana market is very concentrated?
I think what it tells us is that the network is valuable, and so it's hard to replace what's already been built. And bumps along the way don't necessarily decrease the overall value. They may put some uncertainty into the equation until they're sorted out. But the network itself is what's valuable, its capabilities, its developers, and it's all the projects that are being built on it. And that, I think whenever something like this happens, the market has to digest, okay, is this a big deal or a small deal? Is it going away soon? Is it fundamental to, am I missing something fundamental with regard to the promise of this technology? And I think the market sorted through this one pretty quickly and saw, well, okay, this is a glitch, and they'll sort through it and, back to regular business.